I am not a stand-up comedian, okay? I am a retired IBM marketing manager, retired 12 years ago from IBM after 36 years working for them. But I've always had a passion for humor, particularly Jewish humor. And I've collected a lot of jokes, mainly jokes, but over the last 6.5 years I've gone way beyond jokes and realized that we are a funny people. Jews are a funny people, whether they know it or not, whether they intend it or not. They do a lot of funny things. Some of them are silly, some of them are ridiculous. It happens to secular Jews, it happens to Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, Modern Orthodox, Hasidic, Haredi, all stripes, you name it. Funny things happen to us and we do funny things. So about 6 years ago, I decided to create a blog called JewishHumorCentral.com. It's been up now since 2009. And since then I have posted over 1,800 clips, video clips and anecdotes that have to do with Jewish humor around the world. It's a lot of clips, 1,800. So a couple of years ago it occurred to me to start organizing them in some fashion. And I found that they organized themselves into 7 categories. And each of those categories turned into a book that I wrote with links to all these video clips. They're on Amazon, wherever books are sold. And then about 2 years ago, I went a step further and I said, you know, I've got 1,800 video clips, 1,800 blog posts, and 7 books, each of which has about 100, 150 of them on there. Why don't I just take the best, funniest 20 or 25 in each category and turn it into a talk, lecture, program, comedy hour, whatever you call it. And that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years, and I do about 20 or so a year in Florida, in Deerfield Beach, Florida, and at the senior 55-plus communities in Florida, and New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, synagogues, temples, and private parties. So I have 12 right now, 12 one-hour talks, lectures. You know, I hesitate when I say talk and lecture. Let me explain to you why I'm kind of laughing inside. Because I do this for all kinds of groups, for 55-plus communities, non-religious, Reform, Conservative, Orthodox. And I've discovered something, that when I do it for a Reform or Conservative group, they usually like to bill it as a comedy brunch or a comedy dinner evening or something like that. When I do it for an Orthodox group, they don't like to do that. They generally like to call it a lecture. The joke, which is my internal joke, is that I don't change anything. It's the same presentation. It's the same clips, the same funny stuff. It just gives you some insight in how serious or non-serious people view themselves and their friends. Anyway, so today I'm doing something that I have never done before. As I said, I have 12 lectures. I've been doing 10 or 11 of them. And I mentioned to Ellen, I sent her the list. And I said, by the way, I'm working on another one, which is The Great Jewish Comedians. And it's a series that I'm posting like once a week or once every 2 weeks on my blog post. I'm collecting the funniest skits and bits from the great Jewish comedians. I've been going back to the turn of the last century. And she writes back to me, that's what we want. We want that presentation. But I wanted to start by saying, I hope I'm not disappointing you when I say all the comedians that you were expecting, you're not going to see. What you're going to see instead are these comedians. And I hope you're not disappointed when you read the names. Do you know who all these comedians are? Anybody know who Benjamin Kubelski is?
No. Is that Jack Benny?
Jack Benny.
Okay.
Nathan Birnbaum?
Nathan Lane.
Come on, somebody must know.
Burns.
George Burns.
Okay.
Henry Young, and that's kind of obvious. Mendel Berlinger. Milton Berle, all right.
That's
Borgia Rosenberg.
Victor
Borgia is a clue, right? David Kaminsky. Danny Kaye, right? Aaron Schwart. Aaron Schwart. Anybody? Anybody?
Red Buttons.
Red Buttons. You guys are
Left field.
Wow.
Jacob Cohen.
Sounds Jewish.
I'll give you a hint. His full name is Jacob Rodney Cohen. Rodney Dangerfield. Leonard Hacker.
Buddy Hackett.
Buddy Hackett, right. William Satmari. This is going to be a hard one for you, I know. Monday Jose Jimenez.
Oh, my
Bill
God.
Dana.
Oh, he was Jewish.
Very Jewish, yes. I have a whole thing on him. He is Jewish. We may not get to it today, though. Melvin Kaminsky. That's an obvious. Mel Brooks. Erwin Kinberg.
Give us a hint.
Erwin Kinberg.
Give us his initials.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, first name is Alan. Alan King. Alan King.
Okay.
Sophie Feldman.
Sophie Tucker. No, Sophie Tucker was a Jew.
And she wasn't,
Sophie Feldman.
she was a singer.
Sophie Feldman. Toady Fields. Yaakov Moshe Maza. Jackie Mason. Rabbi Yaakov Moshe Maza.
Very good.
Joan Malinsky. Finally, Alan Konigsberg.
Woody Allen.
Woody Allen. Okay. So those are the comedians on my current list, and I have a few that are not on this list because, believe it or not, they didn't change their names. Some of them didn't change their names.